Hello all. Now let's move on to the session on logical operators. That is a guided session. I'll give you which kind of vectors can be used for getting the proper output of logical operators and where you can't use it. Fine. So now consider that we are creating a vector. We already know we had created a vector by name vector 1. Fine. So now we have 1 2 3 4 5. So similarly we had also created a vector 2. Now consider I'm going to create another vector, maybe some vector 6, and I say C of, and I give 0 to some 5. Okay, so what does this mean? So I am saying create a vector starting from 0 and ending with 5. Okay, now let's try to print this and check out. Yes, so it is starting from 0 and ending with 5. Now again I create another vector, maybe I say I start with 0 and end with 4. Fine. So now I have these vectors. Now let's proceed. Now there are few logical operators. So what are these logical operators? I have logical and, logical or, and not. Okay. So in this you have two varieties of these logical operators, that is element wise operator and your not it is not element wise, that is that is the variation here. Fine. Now first let's move on to the element wise operator. Now I say vector 1 and the element wise and operator. And operator, element wise and operator is a single ampersand, and I say with vector 6. Fine. So what I say, I am saying go for a element wise logical and with vector 1 and vector 6. So now what you will get as output? See here, it is saying here giving the output. Fine. Similar to your logical operators, your relational operators, here also you are getting the output, but it is saying a warning message that it is longer. Why it is longer? Because vector 1 has 5 items, vector 6 has 6 items. Okay. So now let's try this with vector 7. So there you have only 5 items. See, you have not got any warning message. So what does this do? So now I say vector 1. So this is vector 1. And what is vector 7? So 0 to 4, which means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first element of vector 1 with first element of vector 7, which is 0. So it is checking out the AND operation. You already know what is logical AND. That is, if both are true, output is true. If any one is false or both are false, output is false. So in this case, this 1 is considered to be true, 0 is considered to be false. Any numeric value other than 0 is considered to be true. Fine. So that is how, since this is a single ampersand, it is element wise AND operator. So it is going to take element by element in the vector and it is giving you the value. Okay. Similarly, there is another one which is element wise OR. So it is again going to go for element wise OR operation. So any one true, output will be true. So you can find the difference here. So in this case it is true, in this case it is false, where you had a 0. Fine. And similarly there is another. So these two, that is logical, element wise logical and element wise logical, or are binary. That is, you can have two operators. But in case of not, element wise not. So this is one singleton operator. That is only one single operator you can have here. Fine. So you can have only one single operand for this operator. So I say not of vector 1. So it will just convert it. Fine. You can try this with vector 7 as well. So it will convert everything to the opposite of it. So not is negation. Fine. So these are the three element wise operators which are available. So you still have the other one. So I say it is going to be simple logical or and simple logical and. It is not element wise. So what it is going to do? See here, it is only giving you a single true. So what does that mean? Now let's print this vector 1 and 7 first, because now it has gone up. So now I say vector 1 and I say print vector 7. Fine. So now you see here, for vector 1 the first value is 1, for vector 7 first value is 0. So in case of usual simple logical OR, it is not element wise, it is simple logical OR. So in that case, the first element in the vector alone will be taken and the output will be given. Fine. Yes. So now I say this again similarly, simple logical and, which is two ampersand symbols. So it has to give you false. Yes. See, you have got false. So the first element of this alone is being taken and a single output is given. So only in element wise each and every element will be taken and the output will be given. In case of simple logical and simple logical OR, you will get only single output. Will take the first element alone and it will give you the output. Fine. So this is the difference between these logical operators. Now we had already created this matrix, right? Now let's check whether this matrix here you get this operator working or not. Yes, it will work. Fine, because this is again a numeric, so it will work. Now you have one speciality of this logical operators. Now let's create a vector 9. Now I create a vector 9 with saying so many subclasses of the vector. Now I have 1, 2, L. So what is this? It is an integer. Now I say I am going to have a complex number. Fine. And similarly I am going to have a Boolean value. Fine. So 5 values are created. Okay. Now I have created a vector 9. Now let's try whether this logical operation works on this. So I say vector 1 and element wise logical and over this vector 9. See, it is working. Fine. So your logical operator can work with numeric, logical as well as complex. It is allowed. Now let's create another vector, maybe vector 10 I say, and I am creating with something like a character here. Fine. And I say one Boolean. Now let's try this same thing. So I say vector 1 single ampersand with vector 10. Fine. So you have got an error. What error it is? It is saying operations are possible only for numeric, logical or complex type. So now what you understand from this? So these logical operators works with numeric, logical values and complex types. It will not work with character. Fine. So this is the conclusion you can come at the end of this error. Fine. Yes. So now if your it will work with your matrix similar to your usual vectors plus a vector which has a subclass, anything apart from your character, it will work. So it will not work with character. Now let's try whether the same thing works with usual logical and. See, again it is giving the same thing, though it is usual logical and. So what you might think, see the first vector, first value alone. So here it is 1. Even in vector 1 also it is 1. Then why it is giving error? No, because vector 10 has some character values. So when you calculate the logical and, it doesn't mean that it is just going to omit the remaining steps and it is not going to check. No, it will check. Only if it is going to match, then it will give you the output. Otherwise you will get this error. Fine. Yes. So this is the end of this logical operator session. Okay. So you can try out all these logical operators with all the other data types like list and other stuffs. And if you have doubts, you can post your queries to me. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.